Hey, are you new to Genshin? And do you want to know more about artifacts? Come here. I can teach you all you need to know.
Hello?
Do you want to know more about artifacts? Well, you're in the right place then. So, artifacts are this thing from this game called Genshin Impact. You might have heard of it. I mean, otherwise you would probably not be watching this video if you hadn't. Anyways, this video is targeted more towards newer players and even experienced players to some degree, if they maybe want to refresh their memories and possibly even learn something new. So let's get right into it. What are artifacts and why are they important? Artifacts are one of the most important things to make your character stronger alongside your character levels and their talent levels. There are artifacts that can, for example, increase your attack, your elemental mastery, your energy recharge, and a lot more, which I'll go more into detail with later in the video. And I'll also be going over the different types of artifacts, how to obtain them, and how to optimize your builds. So to start off with the different types of artifacts, there are 5 different types of artifacts in the game. And these are Flower of Life, which I'll be referring to as just Flower, Plume of Death, or just Feather, Sands of Eon, or just Sand, Goblet of whatever that is, or just Goblet, and Circlet of Logos, or just Circlet. These different artifacts all have different main stats and different substats. Maybe you might be wondering, what are main stats and what are substats? The main stat you can identify as the text here. In this case, it's Elemental Mastery. For this one, it's crit damage. This is HP percent, etc. The substats you can identify as the lines down here. So this attack percent, energy recharge, crit damage, crit rate. And in this case, Elemental Mastery, crit damage, defense percent, and crit rate. The artifacts can significantly help in increasing your character's HP, attack, energy recharge, and much more. So for example, with Hu Tao, since she is a main DPS character of the Pyro element, you would want to give her a decent crit ratio. So usually that's a 1:2 ratio. So you would want to target, say, 70% crit rate and 140 crit damage. Just an example. Or just prioritize getting the best substats you can. And since she scales with HP, you also want to give her some extra of that, which you can do with artifacts that have rolled in HP percent or flat HP, or giving her a main stat HP Sands, just an example for building her. And since she's Pyro, you also want to give her extra Pyro damage. Or for example with Chi-Chi, since she is a healer that scales mostly with attack, you want to give her as much attack as you can, and Circlet with healing bonus to make her even more effective with healing. A popular set for characters that rely on their elemental bursts for doing damage is the Emblem of Severed Fate, which as its 2-piece set bonus gives 20% energy recharge, which is already very good. As its 4-piece set bonus, it increases your burst damage by 25% of your energy recharge, so your total energy recharge on that character. And this extra burst damage can go up to a total of 75%. A popular artifact set for healers, or at least one that used to be a popular set for healers, is the Maiden Beloved, which as its 2-piece set gives 15% increased healing effectiveness, and as its 4-piece set bonus increases healing receipts for your whole party by 20% after the user of this set uses an elemental burst or skill. You can get these 2-piece and 4-piece set bonuses by equipping the character you want with the set bonuses with either 2 or 4 of that specific set bonuses artifact. In this case, my Raiden Shogun has 4 artifacts of the Emblem of Severed Fate, as you can see here. This one is a different set, because you only need 4 of the same one to get the full set bonus, and one can be just a random one. In this way, you can also combine 2 different set piece bonuses on one character. In this example, my Hazo, he has 2-piece Viridescent Venerer to give him extra animal damage bonus because he is an animal damage character, and 2-piece Shimenawa's Reminiscence to give him extra attack because his damage scales off of attack. As you can see, this flower is his off piece, so the one that's not contributing to his set bonuses. This is the Viridescent piece, one of his Shimenawa pieces, another Shimenawa piece, and the last Viridescent piece that he needs to get both bonuses. There are also certain artifacts with a 1-piece set bonus, which you can get from defeating world bosses and weekly bosses and claiming their loot. But since these don't go higher than 4 stars, they're usually not worth leveling up unless you're not at adventure rank 45 yet and have not started farming artifacts yet. There was once rumored to be artifacts coming out that would give 3-piece and 5-piece set bonuses at around the start of when the game launched, but now more than 2 years later, we have unfortunately never heard of those again. Or maybe even thankfully, not in case of the 5-piece set bonuses at least. You'll know why I say that later down in the video. There are many substats you can possibly get on the different artifacts, which include HP, attack, defense, which I'll refer to flat HP, flat attack, flat defense. You can also get HP percent, attack percent, and defense percent. And then there's also elemental mastery, energy recharge, crit rate, and crit damage. Also to note, the main stat of any artifact can never be in its substat. So for example, an attack percent sand can never have attack percent in its substat. The main stat of flowers is always flat HP, and in its substats you'll also never see flat HP. The main stat for feathers is always flat attack, and again, in the substats of these, you'll never see its main stat, in this case flat attack, which is always the case for feathers. On flowers and feathers, you can get any of these substats. Meanwhile, the main stats for sands, goblets, and circlets can be HP percent, attack percent, defense percent, or elemental mastery for all 3, but the sands could also get energy recharge instead. As for the goblets, these can get any of the 7 different elemental damage bonuses or physical damage bonus. The circlets can also get crit rate, crit damage, or healing bonus instead. And again, keep in mind that the substats can be anything that's not the main stat. With artifacts, you also have a rarity starting from 1 star all the way up to 5 stars. And these you can level up to unlock new substats and or upgrade the existing ones. 1-star artifacts can go up to a max of level 4. These don't start with any substats at level 0 and can only unlock a random substat at level 4. 2-star artifacts can only go up to a max of level 4. They do have a chance of starting with 1 substat at level 0, but also have a chance of no substats, with the possibility of unlocking a random substat at level 4. 3-star artifacts can go up to a max of level 12. They can start with 1 or 2 substats. They can unlock 2 or 3 random substats and can upgrade either 0 or 1 of the substats. 4-star artifacts can go up to a max of level 16. They can start with 2 or 3 substats. They can unlock 1 or 2 random substats and can upgrade 2 or 3 of the substats. Then you have 5-star artifacts, which can go up to a max of level 20. They can start with 3 or 4 substats, can unlock either 0 or 1 random substat, and can upgrade 4 or 5 of these substats. You can level up artifacts by going to details, enhance, either auto add, so it just puts the lowest rarity artifact that you have, or you can also select it to not go too high, or what you can also do is manually select which artifacts you want to put in them. Also, do be careful to not accidentally feed potentially good artifacts into the ones you're leveling up. A good practice to prevent this from happening is to click on this lock icon to lock it, so they won't be able to be fed into other artifacts unless you unlock it first and then feed it. Which you can also use to level up your artifacts are Sanctifying Unction and Sanctifying Essence, or as I like to call them, XP bottles, not the Minecraft ones. You can primarily get these by buying them from Tubby in your teapot with a max of 20 for these little ones and 5 for these bigger ones per week. You can also get them as an event reward. When leveling up artifacts, you will see that a random substat with an equal chance can upgrade at level 4, level 8, level 12, 16, and 20. Here at level 4.
Nice.
Golden Crate. Level 8 goes into crit damage. Level 12 goes in defense percent. Not ideal. Level 16 goes in HP percent. Again, not ideal. And a tip for selecting artifacts is you can click and hold down and just drag, and it'll select as many as it can. Oh, level 20 upgraded crit damage, which is not the worst artifact that I have. Before you are at adventure rank 45, which is world level 6, I would recommend focusing on only leveling up your characters, their weapons and talent levels. At adventure rank 45 and higher is when you can guarantee getting at least one 5-star artifact per 20 resin spent in any of the different artifact domains. The benefits of farming artifacts from artifacts domains is that you can choose which artifact sets you want to farm, and they only cost 20 resin per 5-star artifact, and if you're lucky, even 2 per 20 resin. You can also get artifacts from claiming the loot from world bosses like the Ice Flower, and from world bosses like the Jade Plume Terror Shroom or the Dendro Chicken. But of course, you can also get them from all the other world bosses as well. Here, unfortunately, you can only guarantee getting at least one 5-star artifact per 40 resin, all the way at adventure rank 55. The benefits of farming artifacts from world bosses is that you get the ascension materials for the characters you want to level up. I don't really recommend this method solely for farming artifact, as they cost 40 resin, and you're only guaranteed one artifact, one 5-star artifact, instead of 2 from artifact domains for the same amount of resin. You can also get artifacts from the weekly bosses like Storm Terror Dvalin and Scaramouche in his God Complex phase. Here you can start getting 5-star artifacts as early as adventure rank 30, and they get progressively more common at higher adventure ranks. Sorry, I couldn't really find out at what adventure rank they get guaranteed. The benefits of farming artifacts from weekly bosses is that you can get the character talent level up material that you need to get them higher than talent level 6, and as an added bonus you also have a chance to get weapon billets, which you need if you want to make any craftable weapon. I don't recommend this method either solely for farming artifacts because it can cost either 30 resin if you haven't used all of your cost having opportunities for the week. Otherwise, they cost 60 resin instead of 30, and you can only claim the rewards from all the different weekly bosses once per week. There are also interactables scattered all around the world, like chests from which you can get 4-star artifacts and mostly lower star artifacts, and also very rarely from killing enemies in the world. You can also get them from these things where you press F to investigate, and from here you can get the lower star artifacts, and these can respawn every 12 to 24 hours. Granted, if you get all of them, it won't be a lot, but every little bit helps, you know? You can find some of these free artifact farming route videos on YouTube if you're interested in those. The benefits of farming artifacts through chests and killing enemies is that you get lots of adventure rank XP and loot for free, but the artifacts themselves are not that common. The benefits you get from farming artifacts from the interactables in the world is that they are also free and respawn every 12 or 24 hours depending on which ones you collect. The downside of this method is that it usually takes a long time to collect all of them, and they don't reset daily like how your daily commissions reset at a set time every day. These instead go on a timer of either 12 or 24 hours from the time you collect them. Another way of farming artifacts is through clearing the Spiral Abyss. Here you can get these boxes which contain random artifacts of these rarities. So for example, these have 3 stars, these have 4 stars from these specific artifact set, and these have 5 stars also from these specific artifact set. They actually need to be updated as they have added the Vermilion Hereafter set to it, and also the Echoes of an Offering set. The benefit of farming artifacts through clearing the Spiral Abyss is that you can get 600 Primo Gems if you can get 36 stars, but maybe your account may not be strong enough to clear all the floors on time to get all the possible rewards from it yet, which is okay. Don't have to worry about it. In my opinion, the best way to farm artifacts is from the domains and passively get the others from killing world bosses and weekly bosses as you need to. You can also use the crafting table in the Mystic Offering tab, in which you can choose specific artifact sets that you want to get. Here you can offer 3 5-star artifacts, preferably bad ones, to get back one of the set that you choose.
Trash!
You can offer up to a total of 39 artifacts at once to get back 13. Do be careful again to not offer potentially good artifacts in this either, and remember to log the ones you want to keep. Now for a bit more details on the probabilities of getting the different main and substats. For the Sands, Goblet, and Circlet, these are the probabilities of getting the different main stats. Remember, the flower can only be flat HP and the feather can only be flat attack. Now for the flower, feather, sands, goblet, and circlet, these are the probabilities of getting the different substats. The substats also have a range of how high or low they can be, also commonly referred to as low roll, mid roll, and high roll. Here you can see the lowest and the highest the different substats can roll as. As you can see, these probabilities can make it kind of depressed, considering the best stats are the ones we have the lowest probability of getting. These in most cases being for the main stats here and for the substats here. If you've not hit AR 45 yet, and are just using what artifacts you passively get from chests, killing enemies, world bosses, weekly bosses, and from the abyss, then I recommend deciding on one team to build, and from this team you should then choose 2 characters for which you want to somewhat focus on giving them decent artifacts from the ones you have. Make sure to get to know what their damage, utility, shielding, and or healing scales off of, and focus on getting them the best possible artifacts with that in mind from the ones that you have. You also don't have to worry too much about your crit ratio at this point, as the enemies are not that hard to kill yet. Instead, just focus on giving them, for example, as much attack and elemental or physical damage bonus as possible. At adventure rank 45 and higher, you can of course keep any 4-star artifacts that you think rolled very nicely and are of artifact sets that can max out at 4 stars, as there are many of these different artifact sets which are very nice to have even when you're much higher adventure rank. As a general rule I keep for myself with flowers and feathers, as they can only have flat HP or flat attack as their main stat, is that they must have both crit rate and crit damage substats. Of course, there's exceptions to this rule. If, for example, a flower or feather only rolls into useful stats like crit rate, elemental mastery, energy recharge, etc. Another way I decide if I want to level up an artifact is if it starts with either 2 or preferably 3 usable substats, so like crit rate, attack percent, and energy recharge, for example. All depends on which character you want to level up artifacts for. Leveling an artifact from 0 to 20 takes a total of 270,475 artifact XP, and just one level 0 5-star artifact is worth 3,780 XP. One level 0 4-star artifact is worth 2,520 XP. One level 0 3-star artifact is worth 1,260 XP. One level 0 2-star artifact is worth 840 XP. And one level 0 1-star artifact is worth 420 XP. For sands, goblets, and circlets, you can be a lot more lenient compared to flowers and feathers, as it's much harder to get the main stat you want, and then you also have to hope to get the right substats as well. So when leveling up flowers and feathers, I only want them to roll into useful stats like crit rate, crit damage, attack percent, energy recharge, and elemental mastery, and in some cases even HP percent or defense percent. For sands, goblets, and circlets, you can be more lenient if you unfortunately roll into stats that won't benefit your characters unless you already have better artifacts of the same kind, in which case you can decide to stop leveling up the artifact further or just feed it into a different one. In most cases, you can level up your artifacts up to 8 and see how your substats roll. If they don't roll well, you can always feed them into another one. This way you can keep 80% of the artifact experience. How do you know if an artifact rolled well or not? There's a really simple way of checking that by calculating its crit value, and based on how high or low it is, you can decide if you want to keep it or not. Crit value is basically just your crit rate times 2 plus your crit damage. So this artifact, for example, has 3.5% crit rate and 34.2% crit damage. So that would be the 3.5% crit rate times 2 equals 7, plus the 34.2% crit damage equals 41.2. So the crit value, or CV, for this specific artifact is 41.2. This is a simple chart in which you can see the different ranges the CV can be looked at to determine their value. So in the case of this artifact, it would be a jewel. If you've just started farming artifacts, then any crit value is good. Then you can just continue farming until you get better artifacts. For my account, since I've been playing for basically since the game launched, the minimum CV I want for most of my artifacts is 30. But that's not the only thing I take into account when determining an artifact's value. I also need to take into consideration if the character this artifact will be used on will be in a team with, for example, an external attack or EM buffing teammate. So let's say your team has Bennett, who can increase your attack by a lot, then attack percent substats are automatically less important, as you will not get as much value out of those because of diminishing returns. But if your team does not have Bennett, then attack percent can actually be almost as valuable as crit damage. Even if the artifact you're leveling up doesn't roll all into crits, it could still be worth keeping if it rolls into other useful stats like EM, ER, and attack percent, and in some cases HP percent or defense percent, if the character it's for wants those stats at least. How do you know when to stop rolling an artifact? You can stop rolling an artifact if it either misses all the substats you want at level 8 or level 12, or if it doesn't get a usable 4th substat. When building your characters, you'll need to consider the following things. If the character will be using mostly their normal attacks, elemental skill, elemental burst, or a combination of the three, what element they use, and if you want to focus on increasing set damage. You'll also want to know what the character scales off of with the skill and or element that you want to focus on getting them better at. Keep in mind not to force any 4-piece or even 2-piece set on any of the characters that you want to build. Prioritize giving them the best artifacts with the best substats instead, and continue farming until you can get them a decent set with good substats as well. Some notable 4-star artifact sets that you could consider are Instructor. This can give your whole team a nice elemental mastery buff, which is really helpful if you're doing lots of reaction damage. It could be either Vaporize, Melt, or even the newer Dendro reactions. And another of these sets is the Exile. This can help a lot with replenishing energy for your team, which lowers the need for your characters to focus as much on getting a high energy recharge. This set can be used on characters that don't really need a high stats like crit rate, crit damage, and don't mind that their artifacts can only go up to level 16, which in turn doesn't make them as strong as they otherwise would have been with a 5-star set. But in a lot of cases, the utility of the 4-star set makes up for the loss of stats. With that being said, here are some examples of popular 4-piece 5-star artifact sets with the characters you typically want to use them for and what their main and substats should be. So, as we now know, artifacts are essential in making your characters be more effective and to help with making your team work better together. We know where to get them and how to efficiently level them up without wasting too much. I encourage you to experiment with combining different 2-piece artifacts together, especially if you can get better substats by combining different sets instead of forcing a 4-piece set bonus. Let me know in the comments if this video was helpful, what I might have missed, and what video you might want to see in the future. I was thinking of making a guide for Xingqiu, so let me know if that would interest any of you. Also, please give the video a like if you liked it, a dislike if you disliked it, and subscribe if you want to see more, and share if you think it might help someone else. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.